couple of Christmases ago, I got the Legions Imperialis launch box set. I wanted to add to that, so I went into D610. Paul happened to have a return one with some bits missing, so he gave us that. So I said, let's collaborate.
I really should not have shampooed and conditioned me hair before this, because now it means I'm not going to style it.
But it is a little bit of a different project for this channel today. I usually paint big miniatures. Today I'm going to be painting teeny weeny little miniatures. Of course, that's right, that means some Legions Imperialis. This video is sponsored today by D610, my local hobby shop. More on that later on in the video. My name is George of Fist. Welcome in, grab yourself a cuppa or whatever else you like to drink, and let's chat Warhammer. It is time to take this ridiculous amount of plastic I have from my dad and from Paul at D6, they are not the same, and turn it into an army strong enough to destroy the traitor Horus. I'm going to throw it back to myself now when I had more energy and extreme optimism for this project. I'm going to quickly explain the paint jobs I'm going to be doing and why I want them to happen and why I think they can be quick. All of them are going to be based black, then Xenofold with a white. The Titans are going to have Demon Purple from the AK Quick Gen new range. We are going to go for Space Green and do some Salamanders for all of the Space Marines. And because you don't see it much, we are going for Fire Giant Orange. So we are going for orange on the Solar Auxilia. Okay, strap in. First thing first, we've got a ton of building to do. Truly, when I started this project, I didn't realise the actual scope that this project would need to be. It's huge. I'm briefly going to talk through each feelings about each kit in here, because I feel like I can't do this video without discussing each individual kit that I did have to build. This doesn't include the infantry. They are small infantry with as much detail as they can get on there for being small infantry. They look cool. Some of them are very well detailed. Some of them have giant plastic bits joined between the arm and legs because they are one piece. I'm not going to chat about them. First up is the Contemptor Dreadnought, both the assault cannon and the las cannon variants. This kit, pretty easy to put together. The only fiddly bit is the hand does come in two parts and you've got to stick that on. Someone with fat chubby fingers, that is pretty difficult, but other than that, it's pretty easy. And Dreadnoughts are some of my favourite models ever. And see these Dreadnoughts that have as much detail as the big ones. There's even room on there if you want to get down to it to do some really detailed freehanding. Next up, we have the Coronite Ogrins. They're probably my least favourite models in the whole box. They come in 4 parts, which means the amount of detail they've tried to cram on there makes them not look great. It's not that they look bad, it's they try to put as much detail as, say, you know, the Contemptor Dreadnought, but they're too small, so the detail just kind of gets washed out. The last of the bipedal kits in this box is the Atheon Heavy Sentinels. I might have said that right, I probably butchered it. I'm not the biggest 30k person, I apologise for that now. But these come in quite a lot more parts, and because of that, because they come in more parts, they are more detailed, and the details on them is really nice. Personally, I prefer the 40k Sentinels to the 30k Sentinels, mainly because the 40k ones have a bit of an 80-80 thing going on. Complete personal preference, they are lovely little detailed models though. Now the big, chunky, sick models. First up is the Sakaran Squadrons. That is the heavy Space Marine tanks in this box. They look so fucking incredible. They have a stupid amount of detail, as much detail as, say, a modern Repulsor does. They've got the individual bolts and rivets on them, man. And I can totally see why some people enter Golden Demon and stuff with these. Put the extra time into just painting one of these models because they do look absolutely insane for the size of them. The Predator Squadron is something I can more identify with because I've seen them in 40k, and when I've been playing 40k, I've been shot at them mainly. I don't actually own any. But the Predator Squadrons are, again, unbelievably detailed. I would say compared to their bigger counterparts, the main details that are missing are the lights are kind of blocked out. Other than that, it's stupid how much detail they've managed to fit on a model that's this big. Absolutely insane. And they are really easy to put together, really highly detailed, very, very, very good kit. And then for humans, we get 2 tanks, which I'm going to talk about at the same time. You get the Malgador and a Lehman Rust Squadron. The reason I'm talking about these at the same time is they build very similar. There is a little bit more that goes into the Malgador being a bit of a bigger tank, but they do build very, very similar. They have that World War I 30k aesthetic to the tanks and old 40k World War I aesthetic, which I love. It's so cool. Track unit. I love the grav unit. It's so much more 40k, so much more futuristic to get slammed into the ground by a grav tank going over the top of you till you mulch than it is just get run over. But that World War I aesthetic is just, nailed it. From what I've seen of the 30k kits, I've seen them on websites and stuff, I haven't seen them in person. They have as much detail as those kits, which for a tank that big and this big is incredible. And it's even made me think about buying some of the bigger kits, just so I can have a go at building and painting them. Finally, we get up to the Warhound Titans. Now, even with all the Forge World ones, Warhound Titans are my favourite. They are just, there's something about them being scout, stomping around the battlefield that makes them my favourite kit. Don't know why. Not sure. Love them. Probably I'm a dog person, that might be why. But even the stories, when they're sprinting back and forward on the battlefield, absolutely tearing up things. But they built up really nice. They have, I think, the right amount of detail compared to, like, say, like the Warlord ones in Epic, in Legions Imperialis. And I think this might be one of the best Warhammer kits to ever exist in terms of detail, ease of putting together, just gorgeousness. Yeah, why not? Everything is stuck down. It is now time to spray. I'm going to take this outside and you'll be able to see some B-roll of each one of me spraying the troops and the tanks and the titans. The troops are going to be sprayed with Hyrox Brown, quite a ready brown from the Colour Forge, just to give a little bit of different dimension when I am painting on top with the orange and the green. Titans are going to be sprayed in matte black, and then all of them are going to get the zenithal of white bone from the Colour Forge. Using all the Colour Forge sprays, as I talked about, one of my handy hobby tools, they are significantly cheaper than using the Games Workshop ones. Just to add that, since I am using speed paints, the base coat with the zenithal allows me to build up a really deep, rich colour across all the models. This project is about getting constant quick wins, and if you can build up different levels of contrast and different models to look different when they're on the same base stood next to each other, that's a quick win, and it saves me putting in shitloads of time into, say, one individual squadron, when actually the zenithal is a little bit different on, say, that squad of Terminators that's on that little base. It then means they all look a little bit different, lights hitting them a little bit different and stuff. And I'm going to keep talking a little bit here because I've got so much B-roll, about 45 to 50 minutes B-roll of me doing some spraying. Don't want to waste too much of it. I think I've probably only managed to use about 30 seconds of it here, but by God. And while you're enjoying that B-roll and I'm chatting here, it's time to chat about this month's sponsor, D6 Den. There is 3 reasons that I not only partner but I also purchase from D6 Den. The first being 22.5% off Warhammer and other related supplies, well, up to for the supplies. That's an insane amount of money off. There's B-roll of the products going past now. You can see the prices and compare them yourselves. That much money off is absolutely insane, and when we spend so much in this hobby, you're effectively saving a quarter across your lifetime if you're buying from somewhere like that. Second is the fact that Paul is there. He is the owner. You aren't paying some faceless corporation millions to then pocket really rich directors. He's there, you're feeding his kids, you can see him. That is very valuable, and it's a small business in the UK. And finally, third, he's constantly reinvesting back in the shop and into us so that we can continue to do this amazing hobby. Anytime he has got a decent amount of money in the bank, he buys new products, he buys new tables, he just upgrades the experience of being in the shop. You can now get warm food and stuff like that. Thank you very much to Paul. Thank you very much to D6 Den for sponsoring this one. Head to the link in the description. I haven't got a code or anything. You can't get more off. 22.5%. Go treat yourself. Treat yourself. Okay. This is where this project took a bit of a turn. You're probably sat there thinking, there is no way he's going to finish all this in 1 month. You'd be correct. I painted the first tank and all my motivation went... It took me about 20 minutes to do one Space Marine tank, 20 minutes. Now, my airbrush is currently out of commission. I have got the stuff to fix it. I just haven't got around to fixing it and testing it. I just haven't had the time. And this limited this project massively. Each tank taking 20 minutes, it was unsustainable. So this is where the scope has to change. I am going to be finishing all those models. For now, I'm going to be doing test models from each army. I am going to be finishing all the models, but this will be a project that I now put on socials. So on Instagram, TikTok. I don't think I've got any other socials, but I'll put them all on there. There's a QR code in the top. There is the link is in the video description and on my channel. Go over there if you want to follow along with this project from now on. It's out of scope of this video now, but this is a really important part of the video. I could have spent my only free time smashing this project out and painting all the time as much as I could. I could have neglected my wife, my house, my dogs. I could have went, no, I need to get this project done for YouTube. I need to get it done for me, for my project, But our hobby is just that. It's a hobby. I lift weights, I do cardio in terms of boxing, I try to get me 10k steps in with dogs, I'm working for my own business. I've got a life outside of this hobby. And I guarantee I would have hated this project if I had tried to stick and get it all done in this month. And I would have been miserable most of the time as well. So when you're hobbying, please take breaks, take whatever time you need, make sure you remain to enjoy the process of this amazing hobby we all share. Now, let's paint some of these test models and chat about the colours. First, I went for Space Marine tanks and a Dreadnought. Now, the colour I went for is Space Green. It is one of the new colours from AK Quick Gen. And, you know, I wanted to make salamanders because salamanders are cool. I painted Imperial Fists. I didn't want to just do them in yellow again. This colour is amazing. Over the white, it goes lovely, lovely bright green. And then over the brown, goes into this deep, rich green. Now, to explain sort of why my motivation dropped, these quick gen colours are incredible, and at least the intense ones that say high have a stupidly high pigmentation it's amazing. And that means they don't fully act like the speed paints I know or have used before. They're quite thick for a speed paint, not necessarily for an acrylic, but for a speed paint. I would say they act more like a watered down acrylic, the intense, high intensity ones do, than a speed paint, which meant it took longer and longer without an airbrush to paint these. But oh my god, they look amazing. For the tracks, the turrets, and the side weapons, I went for dark steel from the new AK Quick Gen range. Now this acted more like how I've used speed paints before, and much like the Army Painter metallic speed paints, the metallic in this is gorgeous. Paints on like a speed paint, and the metal pigmentation in this, the flakes, are incredible. Not quite extreme, but just the right amount. It's kind of like a bit of a lead belcher after lead belcher has been washed. And then for the exhausts, I went for AK Quick Gen bronze. Again, I thought this was going to be a bronze. I thought this was going to be a bit of a darker gold, but actually it's more of a, and bronze sort of is more of a warm gold colour, and it is very, very bright when you put it over a white base. But all the compliments I had for the dark steel apply to this bronze as well. Absolutely incredible, really good if you are wanting to get your metallics done quick. Next was the Solar Auxilia tanks. I wanted to use a paint colour you don't really see much in this hobby for armour and tanks and stuff, so I went with the Army Painter Speed Paint Fire Giant Orange. The colour is gorgeous. Is it armour gorgeous? I don't think so, but I imagine if I ever need to do some rust or do a rusty armour, this will do the job. It'll look incredible. In fact, it's almost perfection in terms of rust and stuff. And this one does paint on like a speed paint. So if I was doing the whole project in Army Painter speed paints, to be honest, I probably would have got it done, but they don't have the pigmentation that the AK Quick Gen ones do. Same does apply here though. It stands up really well to the Zenithal in terms of looking good on top of the white and gradiating down. Creating a gradient down. And I did the same thing with the metallics as I did on the Space Marines. So guns, side sponsons, all those bits and pieces, they got the dark steel. And the exhaust, they got the bronze. Finally, the Warhound Titan, and I went with a dark purple from the AK Quick Gen range. Again, this is a high intensity pigmentation one, and again, because of that, it doesn't necessarily act like speed paint, but it has all of the bad things of a speed paint, at least in my opinion, when trying to do armour. Now, this might be a skill issue, but it doesn't sit very well on flat armour panels. That is why I put my Imperial Fist stuff through an airbrush rather than putting it on with a brush. But this colour did turn out beautiful. It's a really, really nice deep purple. And then the trim on this one though, I did a bit different. I did that out of bronze. Any of the under carapace or the leg bits and all those other things, they got hit with the dark steel. I do plan eventually, by the way, to go into these Titans and absolutely smash a paint job on one of them. Again, they are gorgeous. They are some of my favourite models. I would love to go in and do maybe a display piece or something, maybe for like Geordie Demon next year. Geordie Demon, not Golden Demon. Also, I did put a red contrast paint over the eyes and the missile heads for the Warhound Titan as well. And for anyone curious, it was Flesh Tearers red, so a bit of a very deep pigmented red. And this is where I got up with this video and I stopped. I'm excited about my next month's video. Really excited about my next month's video. There is a hint on my Instagram if you want to go have a look. And this project would have killed me if I kept going with it and I would have ended up hating it, and I don't want to do that. I do plan on playing a game and I will put that onto my Instagram and TikTok as well when I've done that. But keeping the love for this hobby is so important to me, and I wouldn't have had that love if I cracked on. Massive thank you to D6 then for sponsoring this one. Go to their website and get up to 22.5% off your Warhammer and hobby supplies. And if you do want to follow the rest of this project, please head over to my socials. It'll be on there over the next few months. Finally, I've been loving doing this. I'm going to do at least one video a month for the rest of the year. It really helps if you hit the like, maybe drop a comment, and if you're really liking it, subscribe. Enjoy the B-roll, and let's continue to hobby together.